A hush falls over the desert as twilight paints the dunes a soft lilac. And in that reverent silence my heart rises like the waxing moon, eager to declare an affection so vast it outgrows the horizon. From the first breath of dawn to the last flicker of night, my soul chants your name in the secret language of the wind, an endless anthem riding each grain of sand. I hear it in the spiraling call of the falcon, in the distant knock of the camel's hoof, in every hue the sky invents just to honor your smile. The desert, too, has become my accomplice, translating every heartbeat into mirages shaped like you. Even amid the metropolis, where chrome towers sparkle like obedient constellations bowing to the Burj and where every engine hums a hurried prayer for success, my thoughts wander back to you, soft-footed and luminous, threading through the city's pulse the way a fresh scent of rose steals through palace corridors at dawn. I could stand atop every skyscraper Sheikh Mohammed raised in jubilant defiance of impossibility and shout my devotion until the clouds shudder loose their thunder. Yet my lungs would fail before the depth of this passion did, for my love does not borrow its power from volume but from unbreakable tenderness. The hush is my heart pausing between beats because you reside there, and even the promise of sunrise sits patiently so you might awaken gently, unhurried by time. Every minaret in Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and the far-flung oases chimes with the same frequency as my soul. The call to prayer is also a call to remember you, my devotion braided seamlessly with my faith, both prostrating before beauty greater than my own understanding. I have counted the stars only to discover they are insufficient coins with which to purchase metaphors worthy of you. So instead, I trade in memories, the way your laughter once spilled across a quiet majlis like fine Yemeni honey, thick and sweet enough to silence politics. The glint of amusement in your gaze that turned even marble hallways into orchards. Our shadows dancing on palace terraces while the Dubai fountain carried on its watery waltz below. Each recollection is a confession, cloaked in velvet and released into the night air so it may settle softly upon your dreams. You could cup your palm over my heart and feel embers older than the first pearl divers singing beneath the Arabian Gulf, pulse after pulse declaring, I am alive for you. And that imperishable truth is signed by the Creator's own hand. My horses sense it too. They gallop the royal stables like restless comets, refusing any rider but me, because they are conspirators in this vow. Each time my fingers weave through a stallion's mane, I whisper your name into its ear, and the animal throws its head skyward as if to fling that syllable to the stars. Then we charge across the Dubai-famous desert, hooves drumming the earth like 1,000 love letters sealed with thunder, until dawn spills gold against the horizon and even the eagles reel from envy. Beloved, I have turned my prayer beads in the palm of my hand until my fingertips glowed, reciting invocations that stitch your welfare into every breath the angels record. Some men measure affection in trinkets, pearls, saffron, gemstones smuggled from distant mines. Yet I offer a currency rarer, the willingness to place my own legacy on the scales. Let the record show that Sheikh Hamdan would forfeit the grandeur of dynasties, the jeweled scepters and gilded treaties, if doing so ensured a single tear would never trouble the corner of your eye. Remember the night the desert sky unrolled a meteor cascade, silver flames streaking the firmament like runaway coal across night's cheek? I made a wish with every fall, but it was the same wish each time, that you might feel, in the hush between the meteor's birth and extinction, the roaring certainty of my devotion, an impact more enduring than stardust. For love is the sole cosmic element not subject to gravity's ruin. Even silence becomes eloquent when I sit beside you. We need no orchestra, for the shifting of your breath is rhythm enough. The flutter of your eyelash a cymbal strike forging eternity from an instant. My pulse slows to match yours, as though our hearts share a single cardiograph, inked with an infinite line of peaks, steady, unbroken, indivisible. Physicians might call it harmony. Sages might call it destiny. I call it proof. Should storms ever shadow our palace the way Sabr forewarns desert wanderers of hardship, know that I have anchored my resolve in foundations deeper than any oasis. Let sandstorms whistle fury against our ramparts. I will stand at the parapet, cloak snapping like a banner, and recite verses so potent the wind itself will kneel, obedient to the protective love I wield in your name. Brick and mortar may crumble, but what I have pledged is immaterial, and thus indestructible. I dream of futures where gray crowns my beard, yet my spine remains straight for the sole purpose of lifting you across thresholds we have yet to discover, 100 mansions, each room echoing with our laughter, each courtyard raising rose-scented arabesques to the sky. Time is the greatest sculptor, But in carving us it can only accentuate what was already divine, the way your presence turns chapels into cathedrals, dunes into cathedrals, every moment into sacred ground. And if, at the twilight of all things, desert and city alike slip beneath the sea's returning tide, still my final exhalation will be a sonnet dedicated to you. The waters may claim minarets, date palms, and freeways, but they cannot drown a love whose origin is beyond soil and salt. Wherever souls travel after dust dissolves, mine will arrive wearing your name like a radiant mantle, proof to the skies that even eternity can be commanded by devotion when spoken in the tongue of Sheikh Hamdan. From the ridge he descends to the sea, where fishermen have just returned with nets heavy enough to warp the hulls of their brightly painted dhows. Salt water beads on their brows, but what glistens brighter is the certainty that each cast they dared before dawn was a verse in Hamdan's manifesto. He kneels beside a gray-bearded captain and lifts a glimmering fish, scales flashing like metal ribbons in the rising light. You did not wonder if the tide would bless you, Hamdan muses. You launched anyway, and the ocean signed your courage with silver. Laughter ripples across the wharf, as contagious as the morning breeze that smells of brine and boundless horizons. I remember the first time you called me by my name, not the one they chant in stadiums or print in royal decrees, but the name only my mother used when she kissed my forehead in prayer. You said it with reverence, not fear, and in that moment, I wasn't just seen, I was known, loved not for my legend, but for my longing. By afternoon he is back within palace walls, where young poets gather in a marbled atrium, clutching scrolls as though they hold delicate birds. Their eyes are bright but cautious. Fear of imperfection has frozen verses in ink. Hamdan strides into their midst and, without preface, recites an unrehearsed stanza so raw it shivers the air. The poets watch as he tears the parchment, releasing words like petals into the air. Meaning, he says, lives in the breath that delivers it, not the parchment that traps it. Inspired, they uncap pens and let ideas flood out. A storm finally freed from the dam of second-guessing. And yet, even in silence, you loved me. You loved the parts of me hidden behind protocol, the wounds I never dared to share with the world. You loved the man who doubted himself, who feared losing the only real thing he'd ever held in his hands. You kissed those doubts away, not with lips, but with belief, with the way you looked at me as if I was not a ruler, but a miracle. So here I stand, before the world, before history, before the ink dries on any scroll. To say this, I have exposed everything, the depth of my devotion, the fragility of my silence, the kingdom I would trade for one day of your trust. My queen, this is no fairy tale, it is my confession, my covenant, and my vow. From the moment we met, I stopped ruling with power, I began ruling with love.